Like, y'all ready to go, man? First of all, I want to thank God for allowing me to be here today. Without him, you know, I wouldn't be standing here being able to talk to everybody. My family and I want to thank the hospital, all the doctors, nurses.
3 days after being stabbed to within an inch of his heart, Paul Pierce walked out of the New England Medical Center on his own.
I can't wait to get back out on the basketball court, join my Celtic teammates.
24 hours earlier, Boston police issued arrest warrants for 3 men.
A lot of it was simply old-fashioned police work and following leads. Fortunately, some people did come forward, and from there we were able to identify those we believe were responsible for this crime.
I recognize a couple of the photographs.
Paul identified William Ragland. He and another suspect, Trevor Watson, worked security for a local rap group known as Made Men. 5 months earlier, a member of the group was stabbed during a backstage brawl at a rap concert at the Fleet Center. 2 members had been murdered over the group's 15-year history. Founder Ray Scott has had several brushes with Boston police.
If they don't have any clues, whatever, it's just easy to say made men, or it's easy for somebody to say made men.
Scott and his lawyer appeared on the local news the day after the stabbing.
It was crowded, so, you know, there was fists flying and stuff like that. I really didn't, you know, it was dark in there, real dark. I just, you know, left.
He's done very well. He is a part owner of the Source magazine, which is the largest hip-hop magazine in the world.
Paul also identified Anthony Hurston, who was employed by the Source.
I want to send my, you know, definitely regrets for what happened to Paul Pierce and his family. And that comes from me and everybody that you know, is down with, you know, the Made Men.
I want to make it clear that in this case involving Paul Pierce and in those prior cases, their affiliation with the rap group Made Men made no difference to us.
Remarkably, Paul rejoined his teammates on October 3rd, 2000, 5 days after leaving the hospital.
We don't ask him about it. We don't talk about it. It's like it never happened to us. He has a great spirit. I mean, you'll be surprised at the attitude that he has now in the situation. His heart and his drive for the game, he wanted to be there. He wanted to be around the guys, you know.
I remember the doctors saying, we do not want Paul to be putting his hands above his head. The day they said that to me, I looked out of the office and Paul was down in front of the basket shooting.
That same week, just miles away, the district attorney's office began presenting its case to a grand jury.
The grand jury is a secretive body, exists in every county in America. They listen to evidence to determine whether or not probable cause exists to charge certain people for a crime.
The government, through the Boston police, had a witness almost immediately. She told the police that she observed William Ragland and Trevor Watson, each with a knife and stabbing Paul Pierce.
A second witness identified Hurston as the man who smashed a champagne bottle across Paul's temple. Nearly 2 years would pass before the 3 men were tried in court.
Right now, I'm just trying to put it behind me and focus on basketball. You know, that's my main focus. That's what I came to Boston to do, and that's what I want to do.
2 weeks after the attack, Paul celebrated his 23rd birthday by playing in a full-contact scrimmage.
Unfortunate things happen in life. Sometimes you don't try to figure things out. You put the past behind you, you forget about it, and you get on with the present and the future.
My relationship with Coach Pitino definitely grew a lot closer.
I lost a player at Boston University of an enlarged heart. I've lost, obviously, an infant son, and so when I realized I almost lost Paul Pierce as a young man, someone who had all his dreams in this game almost come to an end, really bothered me.
Pitino hired round-the-clock security for his recovering star. With the season opener just days away, the Reverend Al Sharpton held a press conference accusing police of racial profiling.
You do not grab anyone around because they fit a certain stereotype or certain profile and use the hysteria of an outrageous act to pinpoint and prosecute people based on their profile rather than evidence.
I felt like the basketball court is my peace of mind.
He started the 2000 season as if nothing had ever happened, but his coach was wary.
You don't know what's going through his mind. Is there somebody in the stands out to get me? I told Paul if he ever has any fears, I'll trade him.
You know, you can't run from, what's going to happen to you. The decision for me to want to stay with the Celtics was, the fan support, just knowing that I had people who had my back, that really had, really wanted to support me through this.
Alley-oop to Pearson, he puts it in, Larry Johnson.
Number 34 would be the only Celtic that year to start all 82 games.
Pierce off the dribble. Oh, hello. Anthony gets it quickly to Augmon, and Pierce the quick hands to take it away. Pierce the nice move.
But his biggest fan would be gone by mid-season.
I said in the beginning that come next year, if this team doesn't reach its potential, doesn't make the playoffs, I would definitely make a move on myself.
He just gave me a big hug, and he said, I'm sorry I let you down. And I said, you're the one guy that never let me down, Paul.
There hasn't been a period in my life where I've been as upset as this.
Paul would put all the turmoil of several anxious months behind him and unleash the dragon, as promised.
Pierce for two. It wasn't much defense.
Pierce again.
Doing all this stuff with a body that was not as strong as it would be normally, and he was still really turning it on.
In March, he scored 40 points 4 times in a 7-game stretch, including a 42-point outburst in his hometown, prompting Shaquille O'Neal to pull aside a newspaper reporter.
Shaquille O'Neal said Paul Pierce is the truth.
Shaq is the godfather, he's the godfather of the league. Who's going to argue with Shaq?
That summer, the Truth signed a 6-year, $90 million deal to stay in Boston.
It's one of the biggest days of my life. I feel like I'm back at the draft or, one of my first games.
But the truth about what happened the previous September was suddenly more in question than ever before.
I was convinced in my investigation that neither Ragland or Watson was involved in the stabbing.
Defense attorney Martin Leppo was visited by the prosecution's star witness in July.
She stated to me that she had lied to the police. She said that Trevor did not have a knife. I don't think Ragland was involved in any more than throwing a punch at Pierce. I honestly believe that.
With a legal showdown looming, Paul Pierce would help put Boston back into contention. In 2002, the Celtics made the playoffs for the first time in 7 years. The remarkable run would end in the Eastern Conference Finals, but not before Paul made his comeback complete.
7 turnovers for the Boston Celtics. Right off the bat, the Celtics are in trouble.
Game 3 against the New Jersey Nets.
They were laughing at us just after having a grand old time.
And the Celtics hearing some boos from the crowd.
I'm like, that's not supposed to go on. Not here, not in our house.
Walker let the team have it and also let Pierce have it.
Antoine was a heck of a lot more vocal than I was.
It wasn't polite.
I said, I don't know if we're going to win this game.